Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just getting everything ready here.
Yes,
How you doing, Beatriz?
I'm doing fine. Having a hard time with my English.
That's why you're here, to keep practicing. It's all good.
I
home.
know, but I'm having a hard time trying to identify my. I start to do the assignment for the what is grammar. Let me see. That's
which
the
one?
next one, right? The one that we had to do right now. It's the oh my god, the grammar writing one, right?
Yep. I just opened it today, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So.
Well, I'm having a hard time trying to identify in my sentence some words.
That's the idea.
I know, but I get so frustrated. So I go back to the book and read, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I understand. I know. I always think like, hey, Katie, I just see people coming into, I know with grammar, I think it's great that our classes are like 90 minutes. That's about as long as we can think about grammar, like this much detail, you know? So, hey, Barbara, yeah, you know, go slow, be nice to yourself. And like I said, remember, after about week 6, after this first big grammar writing project, we won't have to look at, you know, each individual word. We can really focus on clauses and sentences and different verb tenses and all that good stuff. So
Okay.
it'll start to feel easier. And usually, and like I said, the middle of the semester, people are like, oh yeah, okay, I feel better now.
Hi, Professor.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hi, Galina.
Hi.
Good afternoon, Professor.
Hi there. Hey, Shamsia.
Hi.
And Shabnam came in too, just saying hi as people come in. Hi, you guys.
Oh,
Hey, Lilia. And I promise you're not the only person who feels that way, Beatrice.
I was almost ready to quit last week.
What?
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is too hard for me.
No
But I'm not going to
me
quit.
digas. No me
Me
digas.
too.
Oh my gosh.
So difficult.
I'm not trying to break you guys. I don't want you guys to get so frustrated you're just like, forget about it. That's not good. Well, today, like I said, well, you know, I'll tell you when everybody's here, but I think hopefully things to be happy about and lots of time to answer questions today. I'm not going to present a lot of new things tonight. We'll make sure we feel good, we feel comfortable, and then I'll show you the grammar writing 1 assignment and then make sure you understand, because you're right, Beatrice, it is hard to analyze your own sentences but man, I promise it's something pretty powerful happens when you do it. It's pretty good. If you can push
Okay.
through, there's a little kind of phrasal verb, like push through the stress and the difficulty.
Okay.
And who else is here? Katie, I see. Hi there. Just to see your video just for a second. Dina's here and Vlad's here. Hi, Vlad. Alexandra's coming in. Cool. And just like usual, wait maybe 1 or 2 more minutes. A little smaller group. We'll see. We'll see if anybody else comes. So if you're just coming, yeah, go ahead.
Professor, how do we see what is going to see next class? Because that's what I was looking to start to read. And I didn't know if I should read tutorial 2 or go to tutorial 3.
Yeah, yeah. Usually I try to, I'm going to start to share my screen now to answer Beatrice's question. Okay, so I'm going to go to the home page. And then I'm going to go to live support materials. And the short answer is usually it's the last slide at the end of the PowerPoint. I try to show this at the very end of class, but it's usually the last slide here. So again, where I'm saying before, before class this week, right? Before February 10th, finish all the lessons 1 through 9, review language power tutorial 1, and then read language power tutorial 2. But I will tell you, so that's usually where I'll say sort of, here's what I want you to do if you can before next week, right?
Okay,
now,
I couldn't find it.
It's all good. If you
but
didn't
that's in
read,
live support? You said that was in live support, live support or Professor Jeff's course material?
Live support,
I got it. Okay.
That's where all the links to the Zoom recordings and the PowerPoint presentations, that's where everything is. Yep.
Yeah, I won't forget. And I will check.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, let me get today's PowerPoint. But again, good news is I have the same thing here. So read and review language power tutorial 2. We'll talk about that at the end of class. But I'm not gonna, like I said, we're not gonna do anything big or new or crazy tonight. I'm gonna show you guys the first sort of big project assignment, first big thing worth a lot of points, where I can really look at each of your sentences and fix your errors and help identify, help you basically one-on-one. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Let me make my screen a little bit bigger and then we'll get started. Who else? Just to say hi as people came in. Evan came in and Johannes came in. Hi, you guys. All right, let's go. I'm going to minimize this. And perfect. See if I can make it a little bigger. Cool. All right. Well, it is good to see you guys, hear your voices, see your names.
Good evening.
Hi, Dimitri. It is Thursday, February 10th. We're in week 4 already. 1 month in this semester is already just about over after tomorrow. So it is great to see you. Here's what we're doing today. Just like I usually have, I've got just a quick announcement at the beginning of class. I want to update you about grading. Then I'm going to talk about grammar writing 1. That's most of the things that we will do today. And then after I show you grammar writing 1 and sort of what I want you to do for the first big project, I'm going to show you guys the answers for lesson 6, 7, and 8 in class. I'll tell you right now, sometimes students are like, Jeff, put the answer key in Canvas, right? Give me the document. I will not do that because then people will have the file and then I know what will happen from semester to semester. This file will pass, but I will show it to you right now. And then it'll be in the video, in the recording, and we can talk about it, okay? And then we'll see how much time we have, but I'd love if we have some time left. I do have a couple more activities to help us practice talking about prepositions and determiners. So if we have time, we'll do that, but let's see how it goes. So first, real quick, again, just grading update. I'll try to do this really quickly every class. I have graded lessons 1 through 8, right? So I've finished grading 1 through 8. And remember, if you received a 0 on any of these assignments, you can still submit the assignment and are eligible to receive full credit. So again, I'll say it once a week. Don't get scared by the 0, right? The 0 just means don't forget, do it. And then if you submitted, I saw a few other people submitted their welcome letter for a second time to fix an error or get their word count up. I did not grade them yet, but I will, I promise. Remember, for those later submitted assignments or revisions, I will get to them after the new ones, okay? So that is my grading update. I think we'll see tomorrow. I'll have time to grade lesson 9, the first discussion activity, and then we can talk about the discussion activities next week after I look at those grades. Okay. Okay. Before I show you grammar writing 1, oh my gosh. Sorry, I won't be distracted. I'll talk about grammar. Beatriz has her cat in the video.
Yeah, she likes to hear, and when I am on the computer, she comes to see what's going on.
Of course, of course. ¿Cómo se llama ella?
Blackie.
Okay. Okay. Muy creativa, huh, Beatriz? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know how to put which name. I mean, while I decide, I start to call her Blackie, and then after it's like, okay, that's your name.
It sticks. Yeah, exactly. Okay, before I show you grammar writing 1 and we talk about stuff, any sort of general questions, any sort of big picture questions. If it's about your grade for a lesson, wait and email me. But if you've got just any general questions, I can answer before I show you grammar writing 1. Anybody? All right, let's go. All right. So if you go, I'm going to turn on student view. Now remember, grammar writing 1 is one of those very few assignments that does have a due date, because I'm going to correct your mistakes and then show you how to fix your errors. And then you can send it back to me, second draft, right, for a higher score. Okay. So grammar writing 1, it'll be over here in your to-do list now. It's due 1 week from today. Okay. So before class, February 17th at 5 p.m., that's when the first draft is due. And here's what I'm asking you to do for grammar writing 1, okay? So if you click that assignment page, it'll show you carefully read and review the instructions on the assignment sheet below. Also rewatch the Zoom recordings for the first few weeks of class. So again, I know you've all done this before, but you can click start assignment when it's time to submit, and you'll just submit your file right here, okay? But first, I need to show you the instructions and answer any questions. So remember, you can preview the assignment sheet, or you can just download it, right? I always download it, so I'm going to show you that document here. And here are the instructions. So as it says here, grammar writing 1, parts of speech instructions. For this assignment, I am asking you to analyze your own writing for parts of speech. To do this, I want you to copy and paste 8 sentences from your introduction letter into a document just like this one, right? And then for each sentence, I want you to identify the part of speech for all of the words in each sentence. Now, again, I want to make sure this is clear. I want you to do this type of analysis for 8 sentences, not 7, not 3, 8 of your own writing that you have already done for this class. Sometimes students will say, Jeff, I'm working on an essay for 315 or 55 or something. Can I use writing from one of my other classes? That's fine with me, okay? But the most important thing is it's got to be your words, okay? So if you've got a paragraph, an essay from some other class, and you want to use this activity as like a grammar check, that is totally fine. But it has to be your own writing, okay? And I see your hand, Alexandra. Give me 1 second to finish this, and then I'll come. Keep your questions, save your questions, and we'll have lots of time to talk about it. So again, as I say here, after you go to your introduction letter, go to your discussion post, go to some other lesson that you've done, writing that you've done, you copy and paste those sentences into a Word document, okay? Identify the parts of speech. And then after you analyze the 8 sentences, I want you to write a short reflection, 300 words, about what you learned about your own writing. Here are some questions you can think about to help you start writing, you guys. So what did you notice? Do you use the same sentence type over and over? Do you use lots of prepositions, too many adjectives, not enough adjectives? This writing, this 300 words is about one paragraph, you guys. It doesn't need to be too long. There's not a right answer to these questions. It's just about your own experience. Again, this is that critical thinking skill, right? Critical thinking skill. And as I say here, the first draft is due next week, right? Thursday, February 17th. Oh, my Lord, I'm still in 2022. And then you'll have 1 week from my grade. I'll look at it. I'll show you your mistakes. I'll give you a grade. Then when you get the first grade, you have 1 week to revise, edit, change, fix your mistakes, and send it back to me. And if you do that, the score always goes up if you take the time to do that, okay? In the assignment, I say that the maximum number of attempts is 4. I mean, students sometimes say like, Jeff, if I want to do it more than that, okay. Like if you really want to do, you know, your 5th or 6th draft, that's fine. The more you want to work on your own writing and revise, edit, fix your own writing, that is fine with me, okay? And then I'm going to show the grading rubric and then I'll be ready for questions. And then I also in this document have an example, right? A template really that you can use for your own. So remember, we have 4 of these big grammar writing projects. They are about 40% of your grade, these 4 things together. So instead of a grammar test, right, this is what we do instead of lots of big tests and quizzes. So here is the explanation for the points. So 50 points for grammatical analysis. You correctly identified the parts of speech, right? That just means when you said it was a conjunction, it was a conjunction, right? When you said it was a pronoun, it was a pronoun. Then these other parts here are more about the self-reflection, what you will write that is new for this assignment. So editing is worth 20 points. Your writing is free of major grammatical and mechanical errors, including capitalization, punctuation, spelling, sentence structure, verb forms. Then you get 20 points for self-reflection. Your self-reflection shows originality, careful thought, and obvious effort, right? And I'll show you an example here, but what this really means is if your analysis of your own writing shows that you, what could I say? Like you use many, many modals, for example, right? Oh my gosh, I use would and could and should. Then in your self-reflection, you should talk about that, right? Like, because that's what you notice, that's what you see in your own writing. So this 20 points is, did you really think about what you learned, right? And then you just get 10 points for length. If you're, as long as your reflection is 300 words, you get 10 points. If it's less than 300 words, you don't get those 10 points, okay? And then I want to go down and keep showing you the example next so you understand, right, what I'm asking you. But first, questions. Alexandra, please.
Professor, I need take 8 sentence, and for example, I have 20 sentence. It need I can take first 2, then next maybe 6 and 7, and maybe finally.
Yeah.
It's not about one whole thing. It's only 8 sentence, yeah?
Yeah, that's fine. Sure. I mean, yeah, it doesn't need to be a paragraph or an essay or anything. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'll be a little bit sad if students choose 8 sentences that are like, I am Jeff. I like school. I am nice. That would be a little sad, but okay, that's a strategic choice you could make. That's fine. So yeah, if you want to sort of pick and choose, that's fine with me, Alexandra. You'll see in the example, I show you a sort of, yeah, I'll show you. But that's a good question. And as long as it's 8 sentences of your own writing, I'm not going to worry about it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Other questions before we look at the example here? Dimitri.
Yeah, so we should identify the parts of speech, and we should we explain them?
No, and that's a great question, Dimitri, but the answer is for every single one, it's not possible. The explanation part, Dimitri, is more like in that reflection, right? So like I said, if you notice, wow, I use a lot of modals, or wow, I did not use any adjectives. So the explanation is more like your own awareness. You start to become aware of how you write instead of you proving to me why it's a preposition, right? We're going to talk about that tonight. I'm going to give you more practice with that in Canvas. But for this lesson, it's not like you need to explain how you know for every single word. It would just take way too long. Barbara.
Oh, my question is just in case that I choose 8 sentences and some of them they're wrong, like the order is not correct.
Yep.
So what happens if I just identify what part of the speech is, but my sentence is wrong? It is okay, or I have to fix?
That's the idea, Barbara. I was going to say, I'm not speaking just to you, Barbara, but you will all give me sentences that are grammatically incorrect, right? You are going to analyze incorrect sentences, but then I'm going to show you why they're wrong, right? Explain to you where the mistake is, and then help you understand and identify parts of speech. So if there's a grammar mistake and that mistake is the reason that you said a noun was I don't know, but let's use a better example. If there's a grammar mistake and that's why you said, oh, this adverb is an adjective, cool. Well, I can help you fix that, right? That's the idea. That's the idea. Yeah. So don't worry about that. You don't need to fix your own sentences before you analyze them. Let me do that. Let me do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have no expectation that people send me perfect sentences. That's not why we're here, Anybody else? All right, let's look at the example. So again, I'm going to tell you, right? I'm just going to show you again on the home page here. It says in blue, Grammar Writing 1, you click the little arrow, you can just download this file, right? And I'm suggesting to you, right? I'm telling you, do this, just download the file and use it as a template, right? You can just, your essay, your Grammar Writing 1, it's not an essay, but can look exactly like this, right? All you need to do is just make sure it's your name, right? Katie or Barbara or whatever, right? Put your name first. You can keep all of this stuff the same, right? This is all MLA formatting for how to put your name and information on a college assignment. So Grammar Writing 1. Then here part 1 says grammar analysis. Now I did put my example sentences sort of in a paragraph format, but that's fine if you don't, right? So this is from my welcome letter that all of you hopefully got to read. So one goal I have for this semester, blah, blah, blah. This is just to help me see your sentences by themselves without your analysis, right? Then after I see all your sentences, you can just label sentence 1, sentence 2, whatever. And then again, I put a sort of regular, not, I sort of copy and pasted the first sentence again twice. You can do this, you don't have to do this, but I definitely want at least one example of your sentence without the analysis. So for example, one goal I have for this semester is to really focus on taking care of my students' needs this semester. And I kept it really simple, right? Just, you can put parentheses and then use our codes that we've been practicing, right? 1, determiner, goal, noun, I, pronoun, have, verb, for, preposition. And this is all I'm asking you to do for 8 sentences. Now, again, I think it would be a very good idea if you have some time. I'm giving you my examples for a reason, right? Look at my examples, see, because sometimes even for me, it's hard when you look at your sentences in context to say, I'm not sure what part of speech, right? Like, that's fine. That's the idea, like when I first started teaching this class, not anymore, but I sort of had this, not a fight, but a discussion like, okay, numbers, right? 1 year, 1 goal, 2 goals, 3 goals. Is 1 an adjective? Is it a term? Like what are numbers, right? They come before nouns, they modify nouns, but generally speaking, we think about numbers like determiners, right? So anyway, just these are examples. I've given you 4 example sentences here, right? Sentence 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I'm giving you these answers. All these examples I'm giving you are the correct answer. So again, read them, look at them. They're helpful, I hope, as you go through your own sentences. But I just have a note for you. Remember, you need to do this for 8 sentences, not just 4. Like here, I've given you only 4 examples. Remember, you need to do 8, okay? And then here's an example of, oh, I made a typo here. I got to fix this. Excuse me, you guys. Now, for many students, identifying the parts of speech is difficult, but it's kind of like, okay, like I know I'm going to make a mistake. I'm just going to do my best, you know. But sometimes the reflection is really hard. So I've got an example for you, and I'll read through this because it's important you understand it. So like I said, I've got I broke this into little mini paragraphs, but just as an example, right? This is, if you go look at the word count here.
I just saw it.
Yeah, this is 300 words right here, right? So this is about the most you need to write about your own writing. And here's an example of what I want you to do in the reflection. So this was a very difficult activity because I've never done anything like it before. However, it was also very interesting because I learned a lot about my own writing. For example, I learned that I use a lot of conjunctions in my sentences. I also learned that I do not use a lot of auxiliaries, especially modal auxiliaries. Finally, I realized that I could use more adjectives to some of my sentences. And then, you know, sort of here's how you could add more detail about that. So as I said, I noticed that I used a lot of conjunctions. For example, I used 4 conjunctions in sentence 2. At first, I thought that maybe I'd used too many conjunctions, but I realized that this is a very long sentence. In order to connect different parts of a sentence, including clauses and phrases, you usually need to use conjunctions. I should see, I'm making typos here. I got to fix my own mistakes. I also used 3 conjunctions in sentence 4, but I was not sure if that was a conjunction. I decided to label it a conjunction because it connected 2 clauses and it was followed by the subject noun phrase, all of you. I'm not sure about my analysis, but I hope I'm right, right? You could do this a lot of different ways. You could have like a little mini baby paragraph. If you wanted to give examples of how you use prepositions, you could do all those examples together, or you could just have one big long paragraph. I don't care, you guys, right? This is not an essay class. I'm not worried about the structure here. What I really want in your reflection is these sentences here. I should make these bold for you. I really want you to say, for example, in sentence 3, or for example, in sentence 6. And like Dimitri was asking about, do I need to explain how I know? Well, if there was one that you were like really not sure, I had no idea, but I guessed this because, that's what I want you to write about in the reflection, okay? So there's no wrong way to do this, but this is the part that usually students say takes a little more time because you kind of have to think about it, right? You kind of have to think about what you noticed when you did this activity. And then just another little reminder, remember you need to write at least 300 words in your reflection. So this is it. This is grammar writing 1, right? Grammar writing, all the other grammar writings will be exactly like this one. You're going to analyze your own writing, but just for different, oh, hold on. My camera is doing this. I don't know if it's Zoom or what's going on. Sorry about that, you guys. The first grammar writing is usually the slowest and the most confusing, but then we're going to do this same format for the rest of the grammar writing assignments, right? You analyze your own sentences, but for different things, right? Grammar writing 2, I'm going to ask you to think about phrases and clauses, and then you'll write a short reflection, right? So this is the first time. Be nice to yourself. It's okay, but I really want you to start to notice what you do when you make sentences. That's the goal of these activities. Okay, too much, Jeff, talking. Questions, ideas, fears, concerns? Madhur, I see your hand. What's up?
I already asked.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect. I'll put your hand down, lower hand. Anybody else? Questions about grammar writing 1? Look at my example, right? I give it to you for a reason. I know that this is hard, but I'm trying to make the hard thing as easy as possible. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. Well, yeah, Joed, please.
I'm really sorry, Professor, because I came late and that's why. So I'm really sorry. This is my fault. But the thing is, the question is, so it means we have to analyze our own sentences, right? First of all, we have to write like about 10 sentences.
Yeah, you don't need to write. My suggestion in the instructions here, and again, go read the instructions and go back and watch the video if you can, but I'm suggesting
that's good.
from your introduction letter, Jawed, or if you wrote a discussion for this class, as long as it's your writing. If you wrote something for 315, that's fine too, but just your own sentences.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. Anybody else? All right.
No questions.
Cool. I love it. So enjoy. I know it's hard, but take breaks, go slow. It's all good. I promise you're going to learn a lot. I promise you're going to learn a lot. That much I can promise you. Cool. Okay. Well, I think because we're getting ready for grammar writing 1, we're thinking, oh my God, why is Jeff doing this to me? I can't believe it. I thought that it'd be really good to talk a little, do one sort of last day about parts of speech and answer any questions. So again, just to show you in Canvas, if you go back to assignments, what I want to do right now is show you the answer key, the answers for lesson 6, lesson 7, and lesson 8, right? Not everybody has finished these. Sometimes I like to try and wait, but you know, if you haven't done this, then you'll get to see the answers and hopefully you understand why the answers are correct. That's the most important thing. So let's start with lesson 6, and I'll just again, to refresh people, remind you, lesson 6 is this multiple choice quiz where I give you the options for the parts of speech, but I want to show you again this in context. Okay, so here's what we were doing. Here is the first sentence, and then I just want to show you the answers and ask and answer questions if you have any. So first, have you ever thought, if I could start life over again from the beginning, what would I do differently? So here, have is the auxiliary, ever is the adverb, because what's the verb in this first sentence here?
Thought.
Thank you. Yes, the verb is thought, right? Have is the auxiliary for the present perfect tense. Have auxiliary, thought is the past participle. Ever is an adverb coming in the middle of this verb phrase, but modifying and giving information about the verb, the action. So if I could start life over from the beginning, if I could start, right? I is the subject, start is the verb. Again, from the beginning, maybe some students looked at this and said, ing looks like a verb, ing looks like a verb. But remember, a big clue, if you've got an article in front of a part of speech, that's a noun, right? Determiners, articles, they come before nouns. So what would I do differently? Here I've got I is my subject, do is my verb, and would is an auxiliary. It's a modal, right? It's talking about possibility or impossibility. It's sort of imagining the future. And then differently, like so many of you did in the other lessons, you understand, right? Differently modifies the action. It tells me how, right? It answers a WH question about the action. Okay, so any questions about these first examples? This was our first activity. I think this is probably pretty good for you guys, but anybody have questions about these?
Professor, I have a question. What about the what? I know that's a WH question, but it is like a connect with what would.
This? Yeah. What? Yeah. What? So you want to guess what part of speech?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. What do you think?
It's a WH question, I think.
It is. But what is it in the context of this sentence? What is it doing?
Yeah, that's why I don't know. That's
Somebody want to help Joed?
The conjunction.
Okay.
Part of the auxiliary.
Auxiliary. Okay. Let me show you this. I'm going to put this in Canvas to show you an example here. I love it. Such a good question, Joed. Thank you. Duplicate slide, and I'm going to label this as lesson 6 answer key or something like this. Okay, so what would I do differently? If you're not sure, sometimes remember, questions are hard. Questions are different, right, in English. If I were going to change this, so one thing that can help you with questions is imagine you're going to make it a regular sentence, just a simple statement, right? I would do what different, right? Now, this looks a little bit weird, but at least we can start to think about the regular order of subject, object, verb. So I would do what different, period. What's our subject in this way, in this sentence?
I.
Yep. Where's our verb?
Do. What? Do.
Do is not the main verb. It is what?
Auxiliary.
Thank you. I'll tell you, different here could be different or differently. If you want to call this an adverb or I mean, it's tricky. It's tricky. I still think it should probably be ly and an adverb. So now I've got subject I, verb do, and then what do we have here? Like, what does this look like?
Like object.
It sure does. And objects in English are what part of speech?
Noun.
Yeah. Now, again, I think we could probably say that really technically this is a pronoun because the grammatical structure of this sentence is exactly the same as I would do it differently, right? I mean, it basically has the exact same meaning, right? I would do it differently. So again,
what is a pronoun? Why what is a pronoun? I don't understand.
Yeah, because again, it's the same. Look at this sentence, Beatrice. So I would do it differently. Here, I as the subject, do is an action verb that's going to take an object, right? It is the thing I would do, right? And that's why I asked Alexandra, in English, objects have got to be nouns, right? Objects are nouns. So the grammatical meaning of the sentence tells me that, well, this has got to be the object, right? This has to be the thing that's receiving the action from the subject. And we could do the same thing to keep sort of going. I would do my homework differently. Now, hopefully this one's really clear, right? Like I subject, do verb, and then here's the thing I would do, right? And here my is a possessive determiner. And homework is a noun, right? And differently is still an adverb. And this just shows, again, this is a good example to think about getting ready for next week. If you have time to start reading tutorial 2, phrases, right? Remember, sometimes a phrase is a group of words, my homework. Sometimes a phrase is just one word, it, what, that, right? And if you've got a word that is sort of standing in for a whole group of words, it's probably a pronoun, right? It's probably a pronoun. So we could say object pronoun here, right? Look at your excellent question, Jawed. We got to look at something really interesting. Good. Does that make a little more sense, Beatrice?
Yes.
Good, good. I know we're so used to thinking, oh, pronouns are he and she, but there's lots of different possible pronouns, you know, depending again on context, right? Depending on the context of the sentence. Great. All right, let's go back at the document. Whoops.
Hopefully, Professor, you were with me. Did you ask anything from me? Because I was with someone in the phone that was kind of emergency. That's why if you asked me anything and I didn't answer you.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, but go back and watch because your question was excellent. And I think I did an okay job explaining what was going on.
Yeah, I saw that. I paid. And so from one of my class, sir, I got a question and I was waiting for this class to ask that question from you, Professor, because it was all the time like bother me because the question is, when we modify adjective, we say adjective modify noun. That's correct, right?
Correct.
But the thing is that on that time, on that problem or that difficult, I hear adjective also modify pronoun. And so why they didn't add the adjective modify noun and pronoun? Because all the time when we modify adjective, we just say adjective modify noun. But yeah, right, like we said, that person he is tall.
Yep.
And so that was the first time I hear adjective modify pronoun as well.
Well, I guess my short answer is, well, all pronouns are nouns.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
yeah, exactly. That's a kind of tricky thing because
Well,
we didn't pay attention for that. All pronoun
well,
is noun,
yeah,
and when
it's
he was
like,
talking, yeah,
yeah, it's like in
it
lesson
makes sense.
8, when I show you the answers to lesson 8, some people lost half a point because if you call the an article, it's true, it is. But remember, I said in this class, we're going to say all articles are determiners, right? So it's
Oh,
the same thing, right? All pronouns are nouns, just like all articles are determiners.
good, good. Thank you,
Yeah.
Professor.
And that's really great too, because in a way, it is sort of making you're sort of using a logical thinking to say, okay, adjectives modify nouns. All pronouns are nouns, therefore adjectives can modify pronouns, right? That's
Yeah,
kind of,
right.
that's the
Yeah,
idea. So I
exactly.
love that example, Joe. I love that
Yeah, thank
example.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Let's make sure we're understanding. I have, excuse me. So yeah, have you ever thought, if I could start life over again from the beginning, what would I do differently? I have, and it can be a pretty depressing subject, yet I still think about it sometimes, generally after I've made a big mistake and hurt someone's feelings. Questions about these? Make sense? We good? Anything? I'll tell you too, when you're doing your own sentence analysis, you guys, if you call this an adjective, I'm not worried. I don't disagree. When you put a possessive onto a noun, right? Like someone's feelings, Jeff's homework, whatever it is. I think again, there's a very legitimate, what could I say? It makes sense that some people think of this as a determiner, some people think of it as an adjective. And like I said, that's even, linguists, people who like make their career thinking about grammar. I think there's a good argument for both of these. So I'm not too worried about that. If you looked at it and thought, Jeff, that looks like an adjective, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Cool.
Professor, one question.
Please.
What are you showing us right now? I can find it in Canvas. What is it?
It's lesson 6. And
Yes.
remember, so lesson 6 is just multiple choice. But if you
Yes.
look at the language power tutorial here that I was asking you to look at to complete the quiz,
Yes.
it's right here on where it's really tiny, I know, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's on page 4
Yeah,
4 in the book.
Yeah,
It's
but what I
this.
meant is the answers that you have, like what are you showing us right now?
Yeah.
That Word document,
Yes.
it's in Canvas.
No, because then people will download it this semester and give it to people who take the class next semester, and that is what I don't want.
Oh, that one, I won't do that.
I know, Beatrice, but not every student is a Beatrice. This is the world we live in. So that's why I try to. I'll show you the answers, and then again, if people want to cheat, they can just watch the video. It's not that big a problem, but at least I make it a little harder for people. You know what I mean?
Professor, we have a saying, and we say that stealing knowledge is not a stealing. And
I mean, I agree. I like that too, Jawed, but Americans are obsessed with plagiarism. Oh,
exactly, yeah, right. And so when
obsessed.
abuse it, yeah, that's bad thing.
I talked to my dean today. So I'm a professor in the department. Then my department chair is my boss, and then her boss is called the dean. And I talked to the dean today, and she was just saying that the college is just so worried about cheating and stealing, and it's just crazy. I know.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah.
I know. Okay. Next little, this isn't really a paragraph, but next sentence. If I could just wake up and find myself in the hospital where I was born, in the body of a newborn, but with the brain of someone who has already tried life for 17 years, I know there are a lot of things I would do differently. Again, lots of 10s for this lesson, so maybe we don't have too many questions, but makes sense. Questions about this one? Yeah, stop me if we need to talk about any of these things. Cool. Let me ask you something. This is sort of in this group of words, in the body of a newborn, how many prepositions are in those 6 words?
In the body of a new world.
3.
Of,
Good.
of,
So good. And
A.
I made a mistake here. Hold on. I'll go back to Canvas real quick because I want you to start to feel comfortable with these prepositions. In the body of a newborn. So the first preposition is in. What's the object noun phrase for that preposition?
The,
Of,
in the body of a,
This is important. Again, here's my time. I'll say it this class, planting the seed for next week. In the body of a newborn, that's one word, excuse me. So how many prepositions in these 6 words?
2.
Good, I agree. And remember, that means if we've got 2 prepositions, I've got 2 prepositional phrases, and I've got 2 object noun phrases, right? So I'm getting tired, you guys. Prep phrase 1, in the body, and prepositional phrase 2, of a newborn. Now, inside these 2 prepositional phrases, where's my object of the preposition in prepositional phrase 1? What is it?
It's I think body.
Only one word or both words?
No, only because that there is the determiner. I think.
But yes, but
body.
This is good. This is good practice. But remember, the determiner is a part of the noun phrase. They go together. You can't separate these 2 words. And don't worry too much because again, we'll talk about that next week. But I really want you to start to notice what words group together. Okay. So here, in is the preposition. And the object of the preposition is the body. That's the noun phrase, object noun phrase. And you're right, Joed, inside that noun phrase, we've got a determiner, the, and body, noun, just like we have here, of, a, determiner, newborn, noun. Again, planting the seed, you'll see much more of this later in a couple weeks. But remember, phrases are about groups of words. Sometimes it's just one word. And we'll look at this as an example. In June, I went to Los Angeles. Well, here I've got in and only one word after it, right? So the object noun phrase is just this one word, June, right? But very common to have determiners and adjectives and other things that modify nouns, right? So things to be aware of, okay? Things to be aware of. Let me go back. We'll look at the last sentence, and then we'll look at the answers for lesson 7.
And I think, Professor, this Mr. Grammar is not doing well with us because sometimes we think we know about this, but then we find it that, oh, this is different because yes, they changed their feature. They changed, their structure, the position, you know, you know what I mean?
I do. And that's why, again, week 1, context. It's all about how it is used in that specific sentence, right?
Exactly, yeah. All right.
All right, so last one. When I was younger, I lied to my parents a lot to get out of trouble. It was really stupid, but I did it. And it took my parents a long time to trust me again. I think most of these are pretty obvious, but any questions, any examples before we finish with this first answer key?
no,
Cool.
it's okay. Yep.
All right. Perfect. So I love it. Again, I know that was probably 2 weeks ago. People did that one, maybe more. It's been a while. So I just wanted to make sure you could at least see the answers, though. If you missed a point, you can understand and see what your error was. So remember, lesson 7 is where I started to make it a little more difficult on you, right? Identify the part of speech that's underlined, tell me the part of speech, and then the explanation, right? And I think for a lot of people, I'm thinking of Dimitri's question earlier, this is what's new and this is what's challenging for people, okay? So let's look at this and talk about it. And I promise it'll start to feel more comfortable here. So number 1, Sacramento is very foggy in the winter. It's a noun. And now here's where, if you, for example, if you got a 0.5 points, if you said that it was a noun, but you still lost half a point, it means you got the right part of speech, but your explanation wasn't clear, didn't make sense, or maybe you didn't write one. You forgot, or you didn't read the instructions. So here's the explanation. So it is the subject of the sentence, and all English subjects must be nouns. Sacramento is a place, and nouns are the part of speech for people, places, and things. Now, I don't expect anybody to do this right away. This is my sort of like, perfect textbook answer. But the most important thing for me to help you understand is that you see how these explanations, I'm just going to say, prove, right? They prove it must be a noun in this sentence, right? It must be a noun in this sentence. So does the part of speech and the explanation make sense for this first one?
Yeah, completely.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going, and if people have questions, stop. Beatriz, you got a question?
Yeah, yes,
No.
I have question. If I say,
Alexandra, please.
yeah, if I say it's a proper noun, it's also a good explanation.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm fine. I won't take half a point for proper noun. It's like Joe's question. All pronouns are nouns. All proper nouns are nouns, right? Yeah.
I
like
have a question. So just in the
Yeah.
sentence, they say Sacramento is very foggy in the winter. Do I have to take each word like this is adjective, this is verb, this is adverb?
For
Each
grammar
letter
writing
or
one,
just
for grammar writing one,
yeah?
yeah,
Every each word?
yeah.
No, the one they bolded.
No,
the bold one.
No, but Barbara's asking about grammar writing one. She's
No,
not
no, no.
asking
In the
about.
sentence, for example,
Oh.
in the sentence.
Oh,
do
no,
I
no,
have...
no.
No.
Wait, I want to be clear. Barbara, maybe I'm misunderstanding it. Forgive me. Are you asking about that question for lesson 7?
Yes, the example that you have. So did I have to explain each word like
No,
this
no,
is
no,
a
no,
verb,
no.
this is that?
No. That'll take 20 hours. You guys are way too busy for that. That's
Okay.
crazy. And that's like Dimitri's question. You don't need to do that for grammar writing 1 either. You just need to give me the part of speech. You don't need to say for every word, I know that this is my, no. I make you do that in lesson 7 and 8, and then you don't have to do it again. But it's important. It's good practice. It's good practice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry if I was unclear about that one, you guys. How about number 2? Sacramento is very foggy in the winter. It's an adjective. And how do I know? How can I prove it? Well, it describes the noun Sacramento, and all adjectives modify nouns. It also comes after the linking verb be, and adjectives often follow linking verbs. Make sense? Stop me if it doesn't.
Yes.
Cool. Number 3, you will have no dessert if you don't finish your dinner. This part of speech is the verb, and explanation, it is the action in the clause, and verbs describe the action of a clause or sentence. It is also preceded by 2 auxiliaries, and auxiliaries precede, that means come before, right? And modify verbs. So that's my proof, right? How do I know that in this case finish is a verb? That's the explanation. I'm going to zoom in a little more.
So finish is a verb?
It is. It is. Es como terminar. I mean,
Sí.
and terminar, I mean, not always,
Yeah.
but yeah, terminar is a verb. Yeah. That again, verbs, for my Spanish speakers, I know there's only a couple of you guys, but the verbs, comparing verbs in English and Spanish is it's good. It will help you. Like, he terminado is exactly the same. He would be have, auxiliary. Terminado would be a form of the verb, right? It's still going to be the main verb in the clause. Okay, number 4. I usually drink coffee, but sometimes I enjoy a cup of tea. Here's where people started losing some points on average. So tea is a noun. Explanation, it's a noun because it is a thing, and people, places, things are nouns. Also, this is the true proof, right? It is also the object of a preposition, of preposition, tea, noun, and all English objects must be nouns, right? All English objects must be nouns. So if you said that it was a noun and you still lost half a point, it might just be because of this object of the preposition, right? And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that. Number 5, or questions about number 4? Make sense? We're good?
Yes.
Cool. Number 5. You have met my mother, haven't you? It's a verb. And we could say the same similar explanation here for number 3. It is the past participle form of the verb meet, and it is the action of the clause. It is also preceded by the auxiliary verb have because it is in the present perfect tense. Cool?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk.
Professor, I have a question.
Please.
I'm really sorry because I
No.
asked many questions. So you're calling that clause because that the clause it's a sentences. I have a problem with clause. Is it clause?
Wait for, there's actually 2 clauses in that one sentence, and we're going to talk much more about phrases, clauses, and sentence types starting next week.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
because I strongly believe as a teacher, like if you guys don't understand or recognize, not you all, right? If a student doesn't fully understand parts of speech, it is almost impossible to identify clauses. It's so hard, right? Because a teacher can tell you, oh, a clause is a subject and a verb. And it's like, I don't even, you know, so anyway, it's an excellent question, Jawed, and we will talk about it much more for the next 2 weeks. Grammar writing 2, don't even think about it, but it's going to be all about clauses and phrases. But my short answer is there's 2 clauses in this one sentence, in this specific example.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Number 6, please come here. This is an adverb, and the explanation, it's an adverb because it modifies the verb come. It also answers a WH question about the action of the sentence because it tells the listener where to come. Some people said that this was an adverb of place. That's fine. I gave people full points for that. That's all good. That's all good. Questions make sense. I think almost everybody got this one perfect. Number 7, we did multiple examples of this. So she is the new history professor. History here in this context is an adjective, and it is an adjective because it precedes and modifies the noun professor. It tells the listener what kind of professor she is, right? I'd say this one was about 50-50. Some people remembered this that we practiced, and other people were like, history, it's a noun, it's a thing. Really common, really common. Alexandra, please.
If I say this professor teach history, then history will be noun in object, yeah?
That's right. That's a great question. The professor teaches history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me make sure it's better. Change this to lesson 7.
I need put off history or something.
No, you don't need it here. History, like when it's a noun like this, it's a non-count noun, right? So if you're just saying general history, then you could just keep it a noun. You could, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. It can get weirder though, right? Teaches the history of Japan, right? We can make it more complicated, but still, it's still going to be a noun, right? Article, noun, preposition, object of a preposition, right? And that's different than the new history professor is very kind, right? Professor is the noun.
History adjective.
Exactly right. The is the determiner. New is an adjective. And history is an adjective. All of these 3 words, the new history, all go to modify the noun professor. Yeah, I love it. Okay, number 8. Oh, I forgot to make this one bold, excuse me. The bicycle suddenly stopped. Everybody did great with adverbs. This class loves adverbs. So the bicycle suddenly stopped, adverb. It's an adverb because it modifies the verb stopped. It also answers a WH question about the action of the sentence because it tells the listener how the bicycle stopped, right? Stop me anytime. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going. Number 9, my new car is white. White is an adjective. It is an adjective because it modifies the noun car. It also follows the linking verb be, and adjectives often follow linking verbs. This was a very similar example to number 2 up here, right? Same thing. Subject, linking verb is, and then an adjective that goes back to describe the subject, right? Really common sentence construction. And last one, I feel very excited. Part of speech is an adverb. It's an intensifier. So again, if you wrote intensifier, I gave you the points. I'm happy you remembered. But the explanation, it's an adverb because it modifies the adjective excited. It is also a type of adverb called an intensifier because it tells the listener how excited the subject is. Cool. So those are the 10 examples for lesson 7. The timing is perfect because we got probably just enough time to finish the answers for lesson 8 too. Any questions at all about lesson 7? People did pretty well. People made mistakes, and that's normal. That's fine. All right. Lesson 8. We had some problems. Dimitri, please.
Yeah, so I want to clarify. So we don't have an articles. All articles is determiners.
Yes.
Right?
Well, and
okay.
yes. And we still do, I mean, they are still articles, but I want to make you understand and think about articles as a specific type of determiner, because grammatically in the sentence structure, there is no grammatical difference between the word the and the word like the test and his test. The grammar is the same, right? The grammar is exactly the same. So that's why I'm just sort of forcing you to think and understand, okay, articles are a special type of determiner, right? All right, last one where we've got more of our grammar words that are not as much fun, but still important to think about. All right, so I'm going to make this bigger so we can all see. Number 1, again, this is in lesson 8 here. So this is the answer key for lesson 8. Number 1, he came home yesterday. This is a pronoun. How do we know? Well, first, we know it's a noun because it's the subject of the sentence, and all English subjects are nouns. Also, it must be a pronoun because it is taking the place of a man's name, a proper noun. And this is what pronouns do in English, stand in for proper nouns. If you said that this was a pronoun for a man, or if you said that this was standing in, I gave you the points there, right? I gave you the points. I wasn't being very picky or like super detailed about explaining that all pronouns are nouns. That's fine. That's fine. But almost everybody got that this was a pronoun. Some people just had a difficult time, a hard time explaining how we know, right? Explaining how we know. So does this one make sense? Cool. Number 2, this is like Dimitri's question a minute ago. She is a physical fitness enthusiast. It's a determiner. How do we know? Well, is one of the 4 articles in English, and all articles are determiners. We could even say comes before a noun, gives us grammatical information about the noun with no meaning, whatever. But you know, some people even did a great job and said this is the indefinite article in English. Perfect, full points. That's great. But yeah, it's a determiner. And how do we know? It's an article. All articles are determiners. Number 3, we did go with them after all. Now we started to make some errors. So in this sentence, did is an auxiliary, right? And how do we know? Well, if I say this is an auxiliary, what's the main verb in this sentence then?
Go.
Good, good, excellent, excellent.
Did, it's only about time, yes?
Yes, and I would say I should even add that too. Also, it tells the listener that the action happened in the past. Yeah. So auxiliary, and how do we know? Well, it comes before the verb go and modifies the verb to emphasize the action of the sentence. And like Alexandra just told us, in this sentence, did is actually the word that's giving us the tense of the whole sentence, right? It's not we went with them. We put the past tense on the auxiliary to say, I did go. Did you like it? I did like it, right? Did you study? I did study, right? In this case, did is acting like an auxiliary. It's emphasizing to say, I really did, right? I really did. So again, verbs are hard. And I know the common error you're going to make when you're analyzing your own sentences is in infinitives, right? I want to go. It's hard. Just do your best. Looks like a verb, but in this case, we've got an auxiliary. Does this make sense? I want to make sure we understand this one. This is an important one.
Yes, it is.
Cool. All right, don't be shy if you do. I feel like I'm going a little fast tonight, but if you do have questions, stop me. Number 4, that book is hers. Part of speech is a pronoun, and the explanation, again, hers is one of the 7 possessive pronouns in English. And in this sentence, hers is a pronoun that has the same meaning as the book. And we could keep this real simple, you guys. I'll just show you this chart again, right? I mean, don't forget, especially when you're looking at your own sentences, take a picture, look at it on your phone or have it on your computer while you're doing it. This chart is here to help you, right? And the more you see it, the more you practice it, the more it will make sense, right? The more it will make sense. So I think last week too, I talked about how a good way to think about for possessive pronouns is if you've got a linking verb, that basically a sentence like this, it's almost like the book equals his, right? Just like he equals Jeff, right? I think I said this last week, but just a reminder for sort of why this is a pronoun here, right? Why this is a pronoun. Cool. Number 5, in June and July, I took 2 summer school classes. And again, here's where people started losing points. So if you want to go back and revise your answers so that you can prove to me how you know that it's a preposition, here's the way to do it, right? So it's a preposition. It's followed by an object noun phrase, June and July, and it therefore begins a prepositional phrase, right? This is kind of like the example that we practiced and looked at together a few minutes ago, in the body of a newborn, right? I can say, well, in is a preposition, true, usually it is. Sometimes though, it might be part of a phrasal verb, right? Turn in your homework. I mean, it can change. So just remember, you need to be looking for the object pronoun that follows the preposition to explain and prove this has got to be a preposition, right? Number 6, this book is mine. This is a determiner because it's just like saying the book, a book is mine. Explanation, it comes before and modifies the noun book. In this sentence, it is a possessive determiner, telling the listener who the book belongs to. People also call this a demonstrative determiner. That's totally fine with me. We could all have a thought or feeling about what type of determiner. But again, another easy way to remember, go back to your list, right? Go back to your list of potential possessive determiners here. 7, she has left a long line of broken hearts behind her. It's a preposition, and just like I showed you with number 5 here, it's a preposition because it's followed by the object noun phrase, broken hearts. It also begins a prepositional phrase. And this is more examples, as we'll see next week, right? An object noun phrase might include more than one word, more than just nouns, right? So broken here is an adjective that modifies hearts. But together, these 2 words still go together. You have to keep them together to keep the meaning of the sentence the same. So both of those words together are the object noun phrase here. Number 8. Number 8, I slept 10 hours last night, but still don't feel rested. It's a conjunction. And how do we know? Explanation. Oh, my typos, Jeff. It is one of the 7 coordinating conjunctions in English. That was in your book, and I talked about it briefly about fanboys, right? For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so, fanboys. In this sentence, it connects the initial clause to the following phrase to draw contrast between the two. And I promise, maybe next week, you guys, I'm just going to start with this to talk about clauses and phrases, because I promise next week, you'll know what I mean when I say it connects the clause to the phrase. We're going there next week, okay? But honestly, for this one, if you said that it was one of the fanboys, you're good. Now, number 9, you can start cooking dinner after you do the laundry. Many people got this wrong. I completely understand why this one is so hard, and it's why we need to go slow next week. It's a conjunction here, not an adverb, not a preposition. This is not a time word here, right? Yeah, it's not a time word, and let me explain why. So it's a conjunction, and the explanation is this is a complex sentence with 2 clauses. After comes after the first clause and before the subject in the second clause. In this sentence, it is a subordinating conjunction linking the 2 clauses. So that might sound like Chinese for you guys, since we haven't studied this too much yet. But let me just show you an example here real quick. Okay, think about it this way, you guys. This is your like, you know, the 30-second introduction to clauses. In this sentence, I like to read books and my sister loves to watch movies. Right here, where's our subject and verb in this group of words?
I like.
Thank you.
like.
I agree. Now, we talked about this briefly again, but do I have another subject and verb after this?
Sister loves.
My sister
Yes, excellent. And where's the verb?
Loves.
loves.
Excellent. So how many verbs in this sentence? 2 subjects,
3
2
verbs.
verbs.
2 clauses.
2 verbs.
This is 2 clauses. This is the basic rule. And again, like I said, 30 seconds real quick. We're going to do a lot more detail next week, but this is the basic rule. When I say clause, I mean subject and verbs. And here in this case, they're connected by one of the fanboys. This is a coordinating conjunction, right? This is one of our coordinating conjunctions. But notice here, let's do the same question. I tried to make that example pretty obvious for you. Let's do the same here. You can start cooking dinner. Where's my subject here?
You
Yep.
start. You can start.
Thank you.
You
Which is the verb, can or start?
start.
Good, because can is what?
Model.
Yep. And all modals are what?
Accelerate.
Good. How about here? Do I have a subject and a verb here?
You subject.
You do.
Yes.
Do verb.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent. I'm so happy. Right. So when I say here, after is the conjunction linking 2 clauses together, that's what I mean, right? It comes between 2 clauses. Now, coordinating, subordinating, all that stuff, we'll do that next week, right? But hopefully you can see, even though the type of sentence is different here, we still have the same thing. One thing that is similar is 2 clauses connected by something. In this case, a coordinating conjunction, and the other one a subordinating conjunction. But again, that's just a little preview for next week. And then the last one, Joe was upset when he saw his test score. It's a determiner. And how do I know? Well, first of all, remember, it's on the list that the teacher gave us, or I Googled online, right? His. But also, it comes before and modifies the noun phrase test score. In this sentence, it is a possessive determiner telling the listener whose test score is being talked about, right? Comes before the noun, modifies the noun. Oh, all right. Those are the answers for lessons 6, 7, and 8, you guys. Questions? All right. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little tired, got a little headache. Let me just, I'll take questions, but let me just show you. So we've got 10 more minutes, 9 more minutes. But what's due next week? Remember, please, please, please draft 1 of Grammar Writing 2. You've got 1 week. So please Focus all your time. You know, if you have any extra time this week, make sure you finish grammar writing 1, okay? And then if you have time, go back, do the lessons you didn't do yet, or you can go back to lessons 6, 7, and 8, revise, change your answers. You can get more points. That's totally fine. And then if you have time, read Language Power Tutorial 2. It will help you be ready for class next week. But of course, this is what I'll be teaching next week, right? So if you have time, great. If not, don't stress. That's all I got. Unless people have questions, I can answer questions for another few minutes, but you know, it's Thursday, it's week 4, you know.
I have
Yeah,
a
please.
question. And number
Please, Shamsa.
10, the sentence last,
Oh,
number 10, why his is a determiner? It's not possessive?
It is. It's a possessive determiner, not a possessive pronoun.
Okay.
Yep. Excellent question. And I'll show you an example of that. It's really just the difference between this is his, and I'll ask you here, Barbara, this is his. Is his in this case pronoun or determiner?
Pronoun.
Determiner.
Yeah, she got it. She got it. She got it. This equals his. That's a pronoun, right? But his test is good. I'm tired and I don't have good sentences, you guys. But now I've got a noun, right after the word his. Here I've got nothing, right? And really, like I said, I've just got an equal sign. So his test, his books, his backpack. And that's different than his backpack. I think I did this last week too, is over there. The backpack over there is his, right? His backpack is over there. Determiner or pronoun, Barbara?
His backpack is determiner?
You got it. Con confianza. And then the backpack.
But why is a determiner? It's a pronoun, no?
What is the word that comes after the his right here?
Backpack.
In this, exactly. What part of speech is backpack?
A noun.
Thank you. So in this sentence, the word his comes before a noun and modifies it, right? That's what determiners do. That's what determiners and adjectives do. In a sentence like this is his, or his is over there. What do I have? Let's look at this one. Is the verb. That means this has to be the subject of the sentence, right? Like this must be a noun. This is the subject of this sentence, right? So this is another big clue that you've got a pronoun. You've got a subject pronoun, right? And again, that's what I mean. Sort of saying this is his is the same way of saying equals. They're the same thing, right? His and whatever the object or the subject we're talking about is, that's a big clue. Pronoun, 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 right? But again, yeah, that's all. Does that make a little more sense? I know it's really hard, you guys. I know it's really hard. And especially for my wonderful, amazing Spanish speakers, possession is very different in English, right? Yeah, la mochila de él. I mean, you could say suyo, you could say possession in a lot of different ways in Spanish, right? But it's very common to use the possessive structure in Spanish in a very different way than we use it in English. It is.
Yes.
Yep.
That's right.
So that's a part of it. That's a part of it.
Okay.
Cool. Anybody else? Otherwise, we get 5 whole minutes. Oh, so early, you know. I'm going to stop recording and say goodbye to you. If you do have questions, I'm happy to answer them. But if you're watching the recording, bye-bye.
Bye.